Hello there. Boris Johnson and Priti Patel have struck a deal with Rwanda, and a lot of people don't like that. Well, that's stirred a king-sized hornet's nest, hasn't it? The UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson made a speech today outlining the government plan to send those who availed themselves of the plush red carpet across the English Channel to Rwanda to have their claims assessed. Not only that, the job of policing the Channel has now been given to the Royal Navy, so that no boat reaches the UK without being detected. Not so that no boat reaches the UK. No, just to make sure we know exactly how many do arrive so we can greet and process them into the country. And £50 million of new funding will be spent on more aerial surveillance and personnel to achieve this. But it's the bit about flying asylum seekers to Rwanda that has really got some people spitting feathers. Despite Times journalist Matt Datham tweeting some images of the nice places the asylum seekers will be housed in, having been to see them himself. Now, the Republic of Rwanda is a former Belgian colony and is smack bang in the middle of Africa. It lies to the west of Lake Victoria, is landlocked with Uganda to the north, Tanzania to the east, Burundi to the south, and the Democratic Republic of Congo to the west. And according to some, it is run as an authoritarian dictatorship by President Paul Kagame. And so the decision to have our asylum claims handled in Rwanda has really divided opinion. Now, most people basically want our UK borders protected and respected, so that people legally entitled to come here can come, and those who are truly fleeing for their lives can find safety here. Most people just want a fair system, where they don't get fleeced. But there are also those who believe that there should be no borders, and that anyone who wants to come here for whatever reason should be welcomed with open arms, basically with zero checks, and that those who disagree with this are nasty bigots, etc. And they will try and bully the taxpayer into meekly accepting their own penury to pay for it. And they also do things like point at all the wars and crises that we spent billions on and say, just send all that money to the nations these people are fleeing from and they won't want to leave. But if we did that and we sensibly asked for checks and balances on who and where it got spent to stop it being pilfered by despots, we'd just be branded as colonialists. And don't bother talking to them about lack of housing and infrastructure. They'd just say build more houses and give them away. Then next week they'd be moaning about a lack of farmland and wondering why we need a load more energy for all these people. Numbers and facts are meaningless to them. It's all about their ideals, and the rest of us don't count. Anyway, the Tories are saying these plans are coming along nicely, while the open borders types in Labour and the Lib Dems are saying it's going to cost too much. As far as they're concerned, just keep building and housing them. And for anyone who naively thinks we can reform the asylum applications process, what's the point? They stay anyway. The real truth is that the UK has an inward migration process. That's it. Because between the Labour and Lib Dem type activists, the international agreements we've signed up to, as well as politicised lawyers and the courts, just about no one will ever leave. But they will be able to send for their extended families. And because we are such a civilised and welcoming soft-touch nation that signs up to every single international protocol we can find, so that we can then label ourselves as good, then we end up, by law, having to continue to do so. And as far as I can see, according to the open border types, every other country in the world is a war zone full of despots, so everyone has a right to live here in the UK. And then in the same breath they call everyone in the UK a racist slaver who owes reparations. You just can't win. Anyway, it won't be long before the lawyers and courts are involved in trying to get these new laws struck down, and in my humble estimation the open border types will find a way to dent these new rules just enough so as to make them effectively inoperable. And the next Labour mob will scrap these new laws anyway and replace them with a whole new gold-plated inward migration procedure. And get this, they will do that even in the unlikely event this Rwandan plan is a resounding success that actually stops the evil trafficking. And the courts will be able to rely on the European Convention on Human Rights to stop this anyway. And the inevitable protesters will have more than enough superglue to stick themselves on roads and runways to get in the way of anyone being transported to Rwanda. And the police will sit there and guard them as usual while they do it. Because the UK is a good and nice place. I sometimes wonder if it's our own weird craving to be seen as faultlessly angelic in our kindness that will be the death of the UK as we know it. But that is exactly what some want, and our need to be seen to be nice makes us a very easy target.